Now, one of the questions that I get from a lot of dads is, can you lift and can you run in the same week without burning out? Some coaches will tell you that it's impossible. Some coaches will tell you to just suck it up, buttercup, and to push harder. Now, I would argue that both of these are incorrect. Because if you don't know what you're actually doing on a scale, on a system, in a program format, you're going to end up burnt out, you're going to end up injured, you're going to end up sore, and ultimately your results are going to suffer, and you're not going to actually get to the point to where you want to go. Faster, stronger, bigger, leaner, more muscle, blah, 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 blah. And when you're in your 30s, you have to think about that. You have to be balancing strength. You have to be balancing recovery. You have to be balancing what it actually looks like to have the body composition that you want by not just going out and pushing harder and training harder and bringing back the old glory days and trying to do what you did 5 years ago before you had kids, thinking that it's going to stay the same or do the same and to get the same results. You're older, you've got more stress, you've got kids. That's just not how it works. Speaking from experience. And you're probably like one of the two guys. You're either running a lot and you're skinny fat and you want to build muscle, or you're freaking big, you say you're muscular, but the reality is if you walk up a flight of stairs, you're completely winded and you aren't as fit as you want to be. You're either a skinny little bird or you're not as fit as you want to be. You fill out your clothes and you fill out your shirts, but whenever you pop the top, you're like, I just got a little belly fat in my belly. I hear it all the time. The good old hybrid training will fix the two of these and allow you to be strong, muscular, fit. It's just all about how you structure it. Because believe me, when I was younger, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, man. I would freaking lift chest and triceps, and then I would run a mile or run 3 miles or whatever. Then I would lift legs. You just went out and you ran. You didn't really put a lot of thought into what you were doing. At least I'm 36 now. At least whenever I was younger, you just went out and did it. Just go out there and do it. But now that I'm older, I don't have as much time. I don't have as much, I'll say, energy, even though I've got great energy. I'm not freaking 20 years old where I woke out of bed and I'm before 5 in the morning, I'm already hitting the road, hitting the pavement. I didn't wake up with the snap and a pop. Time, energy, injuries. So things have to be a little bit more, fellas, we got to be more strategic. And I want you to think of your body kind of like a battery. In fact, my Garmin watch tells me about my body battery, which is funny enough. If you drain it, trying to do all the old glory days without enough, if you drain it trying to do X, Y, and Z with no true strategy, you're going to end up with no energy. But if you actually recharge the battery and you focus on recovery and you're actually managing your volume, you're managing the amount of stress when it comes to your training, because as we know, physical, mental, emotional, all are forms of stress. And if you're too overloaded on one of these, performance is going to go down, body fat is going to go up, anxiety, depression, blah, blah, blah. You've got to be managing these different blocks when it comes to your just overall health. So how do we actually do it? I'm going to break it down into 4 different pillars for you. Pillar 1, we're going to talk about like the actual training placement. Pillar 1, training placement of how you should structure your lifts with your runs. Should you be doing tempo and interval work on your leg days, or should you be doing tempo and interval work on your upper body days? We're going to talk about all that. Pillar numero 2, we're going to talk about specific energy systems. We're going to talk about zone 2. We're going to talk about fartlek training. We're going to talk about lactic assay just a little bit, basically low intensity versus high intensity. And then to cover these topics over here, we're going to talk about pillar 3, which is recovery. Strength work, building muscle, getting strong does not happen if this bad boy isn't taken serious. I even have a quote that I say often love. What do I say? You should treat your sleep like your most important workout, because it is. That's where you grow. That's where you are actually rebuilding. That's where lots of good things about growth hormone and all that. Okay, so I went ahead and filled in some of this energy system stuff. More importantly, I want to talk about zone 2, which is going to serve as improving your aerobic capacity. It's going to not only do that, but it's going to help your body actually utilize fat as its primary source of fuel better. When you have a better aerobic capacity, when your body and your muscles get used to pumping blood and flushing out lactic acid easier, you will actually see gains in your strength because your capacity, your ability to distribute blood and pump it out is a lot better. So zone 2 is extremely important. Cliff notes are on zone 2, 180 minus your age. That's going to get you in the ballpark range, plus or minus 5 to 10, depending on your fitness. Now, when it comes to your legs or your upper body or lower body or whatever you're doing, whether you're doing total body, here's the cliff notes. And there's two ways to look at this, and I would check upper body or lower body or whatever you're doing, whether you're doing total body, challenge you to actually see how you feel best. So let's say you are doing a heavy leg day. Now, if you have the capacity, you might do something like, all right, I'm gonna crush my legs. Later on in the day is optimal. I'm gonna give you optimal. Later on in the day, it would be best to do some type of interval work because your legs are already cooked. So spacing them out is gonna allow you to do the high intensity work later because your legs are already very fatigued. Because the next day, tomorrow, you're gonna do zone 2 work, which is gonna flush all that business out. It's gonna flush it out. Zone 2 is essential. And as a reminder, we wanna be getting between 150 and 180 minutes just to be freaking healthy per week. So for you, that might be walking on an incline. It might be rucking. It might be rucking on an incline. It might be running. It might be a run walk. I don't know your level of fitness, but specifically being in a zone 2 for 150 to 80 minutes, that's if you can separate it. Most dads or people that are training don't have the capacity to do that. So, which is why I do love and conditioning into one workout to be really fit and then focusing on the cardio on another level. Now, when it comes to your upper body work, here on the opposing day, that's when we're gonna flush things out, and the day you're able to really pump out your upper body as opposed to trying to run at the high intensity, the high heart rate work with sore legs. You're just not gonna have the intensity that is desired purpose when you're running fast. You wanna run fast. You don't wanna have sore legs. So that's what's gonna help flush that out. And one of the things I wanna point out is if you did a heavy leg day, if we did heavy squats, we did heavy deadlifts, not only are those taxing on your legs, but it's also taxing on your CNS. Your CNS is your central nervous system, which is why you're not supposed to, or it's not recommended by elite strength coaches to do heavy deadlifts and heavy squats too often, like every day or anything crazy, because you're gonna fry your CNS, your central nervous, how your body functions, how you feel when you wake up. If you're cooking it and if you're draining it, you're gonna just push yourself down into a hole. So it's important to be strategic with your lower body and your interval base. It's important to be cycling and know the difference as opposed to lifting and then I'm gonna go run a mile. You know what I mean? Because it's not that running and lifting don't mix, it's that random running and lifting isn't what's optimal. And a story about my client Justin, who recently lost 40 pounds in our program, went down from 245 to 215. He was as slow as molasses, and I asked him one of the key differentiators was how he lost the weight early on. What was it that clicked for him? And he said, to be honest, it was decreasing my intensity because I made him run in a low zone 2 because he was so not aerobically fit that as soon as he started running, he was in 170 to 180 heart rate right from the jump. So what happens when you're that? You do that for however long you run, 20, 30, 40 minutes for an hour. This is so much stress. Your body is in that fight or flight stress mentality all day long. You're constantly strung out. So you don't get to have that recovery component. So he described it, and I'll try to see if I can get a video clip of our interview. He described it as mall walking. In the beginning, he literally felt like he was doing mall walking because he was having to basically do a little shuffle because that's all it took for him to get into a high heart or into that heart rate. So now he's faster. Now he's more aerobically fit, and his body is using his fat as fuel because he's not at that high intensity all the time. We'll see if we can't drip something in of him actually saying it for himself. So when it comes to actually running and lifting, guys, it's not that these two compete against each other. Because the reality is, to become a better runner, you do need to be strong. You do need to prioritize strength. You do need to prioritize unilateral work. You do need to prioritize muscular endurance, being strong, having strong tendons, doing isometrics. All of these things that is important of lifting will make you a better runner. And just like I talked about a minute ago, if you have a better aerobic capacity, you will be able to lift better because your body can flush out the soreness. Your body can deliver blood and deliver oxygen and get all that stuff pumping faster, so you can do more reps. If you can do more reps, you can get stronger. If you can do more reps and you can get stronger, you can build more muscle coupled with the right nutrition, nutrition. And guess what happens when you do all of this? You feel better, you look better, you got better confidence. Guess what happens when you feel better, you look better, and you have better confidence? It shows up in your relationships. It shows up in how you feel about yourself. It shows up in your freaking life. So training with a plan and training with a purpose impacts your life indirectly. So in this video, we talked about how to couple running and lifting. And as you know, I am in the middle of a 30-day covering every topic about hybrid training itself. And I've already released, I think this might be number 5 or 6, but go check out the previous couple of videos where we talk about what is hybrid training. We talk about how to rate your previous week and what metrics and what data points are actually needed to see if you're actually making or being successful with your training. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what topics you want me to actually cover over these next 30 days, because I've got my own list, but if you have specific questions, I'm doing a deep dive on how to actually break it all down. So subscribe, comment down below, let me know what questions you have, and I'll see you tomorrow. And if you want to create a personalized hybrid training program that's going to fit your life, you can check that down in the description and we can game plan. I'll see you tomorrow.